Happy Sunday, everyone. Hope everybody having a blessed day. Nice to see everyone again or hear from you. Again, my name is Jared O'Levin Green. I have here my brother Jay Good and Coach 67 Sports TV, my LDBC brothers. How you gentlemen doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. Here in DFW, it's a sunny day for the first time in a while, so that's a good thing. You don't have to worry about no ice or no snow or no sleet or anything on the road. So anytime that's the
All right,
case around here, it's a good thing. But yeah, everything's good on my end. How
definitely we
y'all
had
been
to
doing?
deal. We be blessed, man. I'm here in Texas too. We had to deal with little if you want to call it that, more like an ice storm. But we got through it. Now it's starting to warm up. But you knowing how funny Texas weather is, there's no telling how long it's gonna last. But Coach, how you doing? Can't hear you, Coach. Well, Coach is
I'm blessed and highly favored, bro.
good.
It's also a sunny day here in Prairieville, Louisiana. I would prefer to be in Baton Rouge because you know the service. I would prefer to be in Baton Rouge because the service and
Yeah. So what Coach was trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, he's in a bad spot where he's at. He had family members out, so his service not as good. So he kind of will go in and out time. So excuse him. Um,
Remote location,
yeah.
via old school via satellite.
Old school via
hey,
satellite, indeed.
hey, very nice area, but the cell phone and Wi-Fi service is very lacking. Upscale, but I guess rural. Upscale and rural at the same time. More of a guess metropolitan area here in Prairieville, so
There you go.
I hear you. I hear you. Especially, I definitely know what you mean. But ladies and gentlemen, today we're gonna talk about basically the recruiting. This is our first installment uh in SWAC recruiting. So we're gonna have more shows. We're just gonna give our thoughts with the information that we have. So if we're missing some bits and pieces, missing some plays, please forgive us. Charge it to our head, not our heart. But we just want to talk about basically how um, each team did eventually. Today we're just gonna do Grambling and Southern, and of course we had to get Southern out the way because the coach being an alumni and Jay Good being a former player at Southern. They I know they're gonna have a lot to say, so definitely. So we're gonna go ahead and get Grambling out the way. And like I was telling you guys offline, I'm not gonna lie, and I know people who are used to giving out this information are like like gonna be like duh, but I was going off 247 Sports, and boy, that was a mistake. That was a big mistake. Lot a of false information there or haven't been updated. So I'm just gonna go off of Grambling State's Twitter and Hugh Jackson basically confirming this information so we can be more accurate. All right. Now, those who watched Grambling last year, you know what problems they had. Like for example, Jay Good. What would you say last year, just watching Grambling play, were the main problems you knew? Kind of looking at them play, oh, they need to improve in that position. What position did you think they needed to improve on?
Um, I mean, I think that from watching them for a while, it seemed like they were, they struggled early on. It seems like they were having a hard time trying to establish the quarterback position. Um, I
Yes,
see.
sir.
I feel like with Calvez, being the quarterback that they went with against us and towards the end of the year. I think he's fine. I mean, I think that he did an adequate job. I know that there were some complaints in the classic with the turnovers and ball security, and there's talk about hands and small hands and things like that. That was one of the things that it seems like they were trying to get established. Um, it also appeared to me that they were very blessed in the tailback area. So an abundance of talent in the tailback area.
Yes.
Um, I know that I think his name is Washington. I believe I saw that I believe he transferred in from a Power Five through the transfer portal, but I want to say that he declared, so he's out. Um, and then they had the other guy that was just what was his
He
name?
gonna be
Chalk.
sick. Chalk.
Chalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a problem. I mean, that kid is a problem. I saw like on his first carry, I was like, it's gonna be a problem if we don't wrap this guy up. And I mean, he stayed true to form throughout the whole game. Now, another thing that a lot of people will question as a issue with Grambling would be the coaching and the play calling. Again, when you look at the classic, you know, people feel like that was a game that they squandered or a game that they should have won, but they did they did not stick to what they were being successful with, and that was the running game. So I don't know. It was just so much early on, with the way that they were struggling, and I guess the expectations. Um, for a while there, they didn't have the logos on the helmets. Coach Jackson, he was trying to implement some things to get them back on track and to have pride and this and that. So, um, those are things, those are areas that I think that can be corrected.
Yes.
Um, so, I think that going forward, I think they're going to be a little bit better prepared than what they were last year.
And Jay Good, you're a sharp individual. You haven't been, and I'm not doubting that. I knew you was, but you was paying attention to a lot of HBCU football, especially in the SWAC. Definitely, you're absolutely correct. The quarterback position definitely was a issue for Grambling State. And yes, Floyd Chalk the fourth and the running back position is my opinion, and Coach would tell you a few shows ago. I said he's going to be probably one of the best running backs um, in the SWAC. If they give him a line, they're probably in the FCS.
Yeah, he has his game is throwback. It's a very throwback power running style, and he's fleet of foot. I mean, this guy, I think he has the ability to be an every down back. But again, they keep a lot of backs, so you're not going to be able to make them all happy if you just highlight and premiere just one guy. But that guy there is special, and as we'll get to later on when we talk about Southern, it kind of forced the hand to another running back that was back there. But we'll get to that later.
Definitely, definitely. All right, Coach. Any thoughts before I start sharing my screen?
Yeah, I mean, Jay Good was spot on. Of course, me and you covered it in our, Bayou Classic, show, following Bayou Classic. Uh, Cal Vance, I thought he did a serviceable job, but I sat in a predominantly Grambling area. So the Grambling fans, they weren't high on Calvez, but they say that he was like the lesser of two evils in their eyes. They felt like he was better than the other quarterback. The other quarterback was, even though Calvez, turned the ball over too much for their liking, they felt the other quarterback was even worse. So, and the Grambling fans, just in general, they felt like they blew too many leads late in games, and some of those games they should have won. And like Jacob was saying, Hugh Jackson, his play calling was suspect because Frank Chalk the fourth, he ran wild on Southern. He only had 8 carries, and I think he rushed for like 120 yards, which with only 8 touches. And like he was saying, they loaded in terms of their running back because Chance, he went to Scotlandville High. One of my coaching friends, he played for him. He played for him in middle school, and he was a stud then. So he's a good back also. So all 4 of their backs, had good, ran the ball well against Southern. I think, Coach Jackson, he just got a little bit too cute. He outsmarted himself. I think had he just stuck to the running game, I really, even though I'm a diehard Southern fan, Grambling should have won that game. And, you know, so I think they could, I'm sure they recruited, they could recruit more quarterbacks, but I think Calvez is serviceable. I think long as they stick to the running game, and the thing about it, even though all their backs are talented, when you have a back that's that special, that has that many yards per carry, I don't know why you wouldn't just ride him, only sub him out when he needs a break. Other than that, those other running backs would have had to get in where they fit in if it was me. So I think that probably was their biggest need area, quarterback. But other than that, I thought they had a solid team. They were just young, from what I saw.
Yeah, very young, and what I'm about to show you, Coach Jackson recruited some competition for Calvez, and I'm about to show you. Share system audio. Yeah, that's what I forgot to do. All right, gentlemen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you on my end, bro.
And can you see the screen?
Yes, I
Yes.
can. I can see it partially. Yeah.
Uh, right. Let me see. Okay. Well, we're just gonna.
About the quarterback room and getting it better. What about this high school athlete that we just signed, Jacob Jones, plays quarterback?
Well, you just said it, Chris. You said high school athlete who can pass the football. Jacob Jones is as good as I've seen in the RPO game. He's pinpoint accurate. He's tough. He understands football. He has great bloodlines, coming from his dad, who was a baseball player. But boy, they're an athletic family. He loves playing the game, loves studying the game. I don't think people talk enough about football IQ when it comes to quarterbacks. This guy right here is very intelligent when it comes to football. He's a good student, but boy, you really like his football IQ because he understands the game, works hard at the game. He's one of those come early, stay late guys, but boy, he can make any throw that you need him to make.
All right, fellas, what y'all think about Jacob Jones?
I mean, he's definitely, from what I was saying, they're definitely a talented young man there. Appears to be a dual threat. Um, he's making the throws. It's always going to come down to It's going to come down to, is it a good fit for the system and what they want to run? You know, how they want that to operate and move. And one thing I want to give I got to show some love to Grambling, man, to the little cuz, you know what I'm saying, to to the little
Right.
cousin, because that social media, man, that's live. I like the way how he broke that down, just covering the recruits in general. You know, and all these coaches, they have a certain way of doing it. You know, Southern went about it their way. I saw Jackson did theirs, but I like the imagery there of how, you know, from an interview style, and then they break it down, and then just with the graphics and everything, that's a home run on that. But yeah,
Definitely.
that kid, that young man, I think he should be able to come in and challenge. I mean, you would think that right now that the job as Calvez is to lose. Um, it's I don't know. I guess I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of Southern and how what we dealt with last year, especially there in that game when you almost see the polar opposites from the quarterback play that was going on. What Calvez was doing, we at the time, you know, we wish that we had that. And then to hear coach who's sitting amongst Gremlinites that are not pleased, they're not happy with what they're seeing. It kind of, I guess it's a tale of two different stories there. So I'm kind of intrigued to see how this is going to work out. I guess it's going to come down to, you know, is he an early enrollee? You know, is he able? How soon is he able to come in and get acclimated into the system? Because that's big. So I mean, if he's a guy that's not going to be able to come in until summer one, or yeah, I would imagine he has to come in summer one at the latest to have a good opportunity at this thing. That's what's going to need to be able to push Calvez and whoever else is left on that roster. Um, Speaking on that, you know, it was like I heard Dooley speak about Noah Biden, and he talked about how Noah Biden got in late, and when he got in late, he was kind of behind Bashawn McCray and Blood and all these other guys because he was still trying to get acclimated in the system, and it just wasn't enough time. So when you think about this young man and you see what he's able to do, and can he come in? How quickly can he pick up and learn the system, learn the offense to where he feels comfortable to where he can compete? Because if it's going to be a learning curve, it's going to take a while. You're gonna probably have to ride out with Calvez unless someone else behind him pushes him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. And then what the next recruit I'm about to show you, he's also a quarterback. That doesn't help him. So I agree with you. I think it is Calvin's job to lose, but we never know. We never we're not questioning the young man's determination. We just what's been the his production on the field, just just giving us this um you know what we think is going to happen. Coach, your feedback.
I echo many of the same sentiments that Jay Good, just spoke. Truthfully speaking, I think Calvez, I think he's good. I think he's serviceable. This kid here, I mean, he might be able to push Calvez. I mean, and that's one thing I really, uh, I kind of question a lot of times, what a player is coming out of high school, because in many instances, you don't know if a guy is going to be Devontae Kincaid, or is he going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum and be more of a Matt Cornblath type quarterback in Grambling. I mean, you could be a Doug Williams, you could be Kincaid, or you could be on the other end of the spectrum, like Matt Cornblath. So it could kind of go either way. Uh, I'm almost certain a lot of Grambling fans, I bet you they wish they had Noah Barton and Grambling. But, of course, he's at Southern right now. But the point I'm trying to make is, in many instances, you don't know what these players are, even though they might look good on the surface, they could turn out to be great. They could be a bust. So it could kind of go either way. And, one thing when I think about the recruiting classes, I don't know if y'all remember this, but at one point at UT, when Mac Brown was the head coach, I mean, for like multiple years in a row, they had the number one recruiting class in the country. And, they would, I think one year they didn't even finish in the top 10. A few years they finished in the top 5, but it would always be the season would always end up being a disappointing season. It wasn't until they got Vince Young there and he finally broke through the glass ceiling and they won the national championship that particular year in '05. But for most of those years leading up to that particular year, it was a disappointing season. So just because, you have a great recruiting class, like you were saying behind the scenes earlier, bro, you have to develop those players, coaching has to be on point, developing players has to be on point. These are a lot of the things that people don't take into consideration. In addition to that, the players, they have to be intrinsically motivated. They have to, have that work ethic to do what's necessary. And even from a developmental standpoint, if you can come in early and like Jacob was saying, if you could come, for spring training as opposed to having to wait to come during the summer, that could delay your progression also because like he was saying, if you look at the SWAC championship game, of course, I mean, it was obvious to me that Glenda Bowe McDaniel should have been starting probably since the Texas Southern game. But even with that being said, Harold Blood, even though he played good against Virginia Lynchburg and Jackson State are two different defenses. So I'm almost certain if Noah Bottom would have been more up to speed, he would have been ahead of Bashawn McCray and Harold Blood on the depth chart because both of those guys, they struggled in the SWAC championship game. So just looking, on the surface, he looks to be a pretty good quarterback, and seems like he should be able to push Calvez. But even if Calvez beats him out for the job, I think Calvez is serviceable. And I didn't see what the Grambling fans were talking about. I thought, outside of the turnovers, I felt he played well. He didn't get that. He didn't have that many pass attempts to begin with anyway. So.
And I think, and to touch up on that, for a second, because as we talk about the quarterback carousel that's going on there at Grambling and them trying to establish who that signal caller is going to be. I want to say that I read something not too long ago that, speaking of Devontae Kincaid, that he's actually out, that he's no longer, I guess he got his walking papers. So
Really? Because I know
I
he was a
believe
quarterback coach.
he was a quarterback coach, and I believe I saw that on Twitter. Now I'm trying to see if I can confirm that and find that, which I thought was unfortunate, because I mean that's I mean outside of Bruce Eugene, when you're talking about just of this particular era, those I would imagine is going to be your top two guys, just historically, at least from 2000 going forward. So he just came back last year. He was assisting the quarterbacks, and now, from what I believe, he is out. He is gone. So I guess that kind of, when you talk about the frustrations that's at that position, the expectations that's at that position, to let him go, because you just can't find the guy. Was it really truly his problem? Is he the reason why they didn't get developed, or was he the scapegoat? That I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see, and it's also going to be interesting to see where else he could resurface, because he still does have connections in the SWAC, which would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy that. If they are hopping, and ladies and gentlemen, like Jay Good said, he doesn't know for sure, but if that is the case, so we're speaking if hypotheticals. Um, if Kincaid is no longer the quarterback coach at Grambling, um, that's not his fault because we could see that the product that's on the field wasn't. Um, Again, no disrespect to Chalk, but you could tell he needed more work. He probably needed to hold the clipboard. Um, but if that's all the talent that you have in that quarterback room and that's what you're pushing out, is that the quarterback coach fault? Especially with the caliber of Kincaid, you know, was one of the, and I know I sound like a broken record. I've said this on other shows. Uh, was one of the top quarterbacks coming out that 2013, 2014 class. Um, Trent Dilfer said he had better quarterback mechanics than Jared Goff or Josh Dobbs, who was in that class. Uh, and he goes to Old Miss and he plays, and he was throwing. I mean, he was doing for the little time that he played because he was holding the clipboard. He was showing promise, and then he, because of family issues, he transferred to Grambling and told. I mean, he did his thing. So the caliber of player he was and caliber of coach. And if you follow him on social media, he has like his own business where he has like a quarterback academy where he brings in young uh, high school quarterbacks and basically coaches them up. Um, have them go through weightlifting procedures, or conditioning, to tune up on that quarterback mechanic. So, I mean, I'm not buying that. That if that is the case, if they fire him because he's not the man or he wasn't cutting it, so they say, if that is the case, yeah, that's bull.
Bro,
Um,
I hope that's not the case because
Me neither.
like Jay Good was saying, outside of maybe Doug Williams or Kendrick Nord or Bruce Eugene, when I think of quarterbacks at Grambling, I think of Devontae Kincaid. Outside of maybe those three, I think of him more than anybody else. So hopefully it's
Maybe
not the
Anthony
case.
Carruthers, but nah.
Well, even I mean, even just in the Celebration Bowl era, in the
Yes,
Celebration Bowl era, he especially out of the SWAC, he was the one quarterback to do what Shador couldn't do, and that was to go
facts.
through the gauntlet of SWAC undefeated, and then actually win the actual national championship. So, I hope that it's not true. I do remember seeing that on Twitter. I'm trying to see, like I said, I'm trying to see if I can find it. But I mean, that would be unfortunate if that is the case. Um, but yeah, that's I don't know how bad this thing is going to be. And then even when you think about how he came in, this is a guy that came from a Power Five. So he was already battle tested from the standpoint of, going through practices, going through training, going through drill, going through games, and then shows up at Grambling and he's ready to compete. Now you're talking about a high school kid that has only been playing on the high school level that's going to come to the collegiate level. And let's be honest here, regardless of what a lot of people say about that particular tier of players or the conference, a lot of these guys, they're coming from other conferences. They're coming from Power Five. These guys are 3 stars, and now you're seeing 4 stars. So if they have that experience from other conferences and other teams, and then they come to these schools and they're on the field, to put a high schooler, to put a young man that's been playing high school um, in that particular mode, to go out there and to perform. I mean, that's asking a lot, especially when he hasn't been going. If he didn't go through spring ball, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see.
Definitely will. Definitely will. And just to and salute to Jay Barr. Thank you for listening in. Thank you. Um, just to heating up the quarterback recruiting for Grambling. We got this other young man that I'm gonna share my screen for, and he is a transfer. Give me one moment, ladies and gentlemen.
This guy we got coming up is quarterback
Mm.
Miles Crowley, transfer from Alabama State.
Chris, I thought it was important that we continue to add quarterbacks to our quarterback room. Obviously, we have a young guy who played a lot of football for us last year, in Julian Calvez. But every year, we're going to keep adding to this room. And Miles Crawley, is going to be really important. It's going to be a tremendous competition, in that particular room. But let me tell you something. This guy right here, there's not a throw he can't make. He's big, he's athletic, he's tough. He understands the Grambling brand too. And that was important for me. I wanted somebody who got it, because playing quarterback here at Grambling means something. When you're the starting quarterback, it has to mean that you're a winner. And again, it's going to be a tremendous battle between him and the rest of our quarterbacks. But I'm looking forward to watching this young man play, and I'm really looking forward to watching him compete.
Your feedback, starting with you, Jay Good.
I mean, just touching back on what I previously said about the game time experience, and whether you came from another team from outside the conference or you came from a team inside the conference. So now like he mentioned, now you're beginning to see you're gonna see the competition. Um, I, I've seen Crowley play. I'm not that much of a fan, but again, it's who he was trying to fill the shoes of is that's the problem. I mean, so and I don't think that that's fair. Maybe it just wasn't a good situation. At the same time, I remember when he hit the portal. When he hit the portal, a lot of people was not pleased that he was leaving. And I guess because at the same time they lost a keel and they didn't know where they was going to go from there. And now he's in another situation where you would think that he should come out and be the starter, but you don't know if that's always the case. It's going to come down to competition. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
And just want to make a correction. He came from, I believe, Alabama State, not Alabama A&M.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
No, you fine. Sure, I make plenty of mistakes on here, brother, but he wasn't gonna start over that stud over there from North Shore. Then with the North Shore Houston. So that's why he hit the transfer portal. But like you just said, it's a matter of if he gonna fit the scheme. Um, does he have enough um, play time under him as far as college ball? We will see. So the quarterback room for Grambling will definitely be interesting. So I definitely agree with you, Jay Good. Coach.
I mean, just looking at the highlights, I mean, he really jump off. His footage really jumps out at you. However, it's called a highlight reel for a reason. I've seen guys, in particular, Ladarius Skelton and Bashawn McCray. If you look at their JC footage, coming to Southern, you're like, wow, this guy could be, the next Eric Randall, the next Quincy Richard. And when they get on campus, essentially they glorify running backs playing the quarterback position. So, it's a highlight reel for a reason. And to be truthful, I'm not saying, he's not a good quarterback. Like Jacob was saying, a lot of times it's the system you're in, the fit, the scheme, the type of coaching you receive, those variables, it factor into this particular equation. But, he wasn't starting at A&M. So, it just kind of remains to be seen, how how
Alabama.
how how is he going to fit at Grambling? That's going to be the $1 million question.
Yeah, Alabama State. He was gonna fit over Demetrius Davis at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Yeah, because that boy gonna mark my words. Demetrius Davis will be one of the top quarterbacks, or has the potential to be one of the top quarterbacks in the SWAC if they don't mess it up as far as scheme over down there in Alabama State. He will be, but just going back to Grambling, yes, uh, Miles Crawley definitely looked promising. Um, but like you guys said, one way to find out, right? Now let's see the weapons that Hugh Jackson's recruited, and we're gonna see how this young man looks.
So, Coach, we have Nation Dickerson, transfer receiver from South Alabama.
I'm excited about Nashawn now. South Alabama, we were able to get him here, and he's a G-man now. Extreme talent, unbelievable vertical speed. I think he can make any catch, contested catch. He can track the ball extremely well. But what he has that we needed to get better at is a vertical speed. This guy can run, and I think he's going to make a lot of plays for us this season.
What you think, Jay Good? How the young Mister Nickerson looking?
I thought he looked pretty good. I know there's a lot of people like kind of like what Coach was going at. There's a lot of people excited about him coming over to Grambling. I haven't seen enough of him um, to have a good idea, but I know just from looking at a lot of the stuff that people was posting online, it looks like they may have something there. You know, as always, it's going to come down to the fit, though. You know, it looks like they had him in the slot there. Is he going to be a slot, or are they going to try to put him on the outside? You know, so and also, you know, it comes down to the quarterback. So I mean, you're only as a receiver, you're only going, in essence, as sad as it sounds, you're only going to be as good as the guy that's throwing it to you. So, you know, he could be all world, but if they don't have the situation resolved behind the center, you won't see it. So we'll see.
We definitely will see. Salute, Joseph Townsend. Thanks for listening in, brother. Appreciate you. Coach, what's your thoughts on that young man?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, he looks, real good on footage. However, it's going to, it depends on how it's going to translate on the field. And like Jay Good was saying, the fit, is he going to play in the slot? Is he going to, be on the outside? And, just like he was saying, you know, what, it's going to be contingent upon how well the quarterback plays, and, what issues are they going to have or may or may not have at the quarterback position, because, just using Southern for an example, people raved about August Petrie the third, but he really didn't get a whole lot of touches because, Bashawn McCray really didn't get him the ball a lot. So, it's going to be contingent upon, is he going to have someone that really could pull a trigger and get him the ball, and where is he going to play? How does he fit in his scheme? All of those variables, like I said earlier, is all a part of this particular equation, and it remains to be seen how things play out for him at Grambling.
Yes, sir. And one thing that I noticed, right? He's a transfer from South Alabama, right? Where's his South
Yes,
Alabama
South
highlights?
Alabama. What
Yeah,
a highlight said.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, uh-huh.
That's one thing. That's one knock on this young man. And I'm not saying he can't ball, but where his South Alabama highlights, either he didn't play because there was other dudes more talented than him, or sometimes he's the freshmen that are highly talented don't get a chance to play because the other guys are more talented, or they've been starters and they know the system more or the scheme more.
Right.
So that's my only knock. The one thing, okay, I hear you, coach, but where's the South Alabama highlights? Even if heck, even if he was on special team as a gunner, where's highlight him running downfield and making plays on the punt return, the kick return? That's my only knock. But who knows? Okay, we will. And ladies and gentlemen, we're just doing. I know there's many more recruits, but we're just doing the ones that uh, stood out to us. Okay, we're gonna go to the defense a little bit, guys. Share my screen.
Talking about the defensive line play, getting bigger inside. Jacoby Schofield, South Carolina, Hutchinson Community College, defensive tackle.
You just said it, Chris. Again, another home run right out the park. Jacoby's a big, athletic, strong, tough. Comes from an unbelievable program that won a lot of football games. Again, he's going to bring that toughness to the defensive line. He's going to be a offensive line's worst nightmare because he goes north and he's strong enough to push people back. He's going to get a lot of knockback. I know that's what we're trying to do on our defensive line. So I'm really excited about this player being here. Look at him come off that ball. Let's go, Jacoby. Knock him back. Knock him back. Stone him and make plays. Yes, that's what we got to do on defense.
Talking about the defensive line play, getting bigger inside. Jacoby Schofield, South Carolina.
Feedback, coach.
I mean, he looks like a a big, strong defensive lineman that really gets good push and good penetration up the middle. Uh, you know, like I say, players always jump off. They really jump out at you in terms of their highlight reel. But it's going to be interesting to see. You know, when he has the offensive lineman in front of him, SWAC play. Is it that easy for him to bull rush and penetrate and wreak havoc the way he is on his highlight reel? So it's going to be interesting to see. Is he because and I know as a coach that's part of your job when you got a recruit that you're excited about. You kind of have to hype him up and make him seem like he's like a John Randall or Aaron Donald or that type of player. But hey, time gonna tell, is he that guy? So we'll see.
I agree.
Really good.
I agree. Just in those clips, he does seem like a guy that's really at least for those calls, he's a guy that's working upfield. I don't know necessarily if he's like a big body that's going to, hold off linemen to protect the linebackers. I did want to see him in a double team, and I did see that. He kept his feet moving, and he still was able to make a play, so that is promising. I would like to see more, but again, this is just, like you said, this is a highlight film. I'm pretty sure, obviously there's going to be some things that he has to work on. Um,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what their defensive line looks like as in returners. So is this a guy that's coming in that you're looking for depth, or is this a guy that you are looking to
Right.
be an immediate impact or starter? So and obviously, I mean, from that talent level that he was going against in the JUCO, he's going to face some stronger and better competition week in, week out, in the SWAC. So it's going to be interesting to see on him too.
I agree. Definitely agree. We're gonna go to the linebacker.
We've been talking about our whole going down to the linebacker room, getting bigger, getting faster. Same thing we've been talking about the whole team, right? Looking at Osiris Smith, linebacker, transfer from Jacksonville State, and he's here with us.
Man, look, I am so excited about this play. I tell you why. Um, just his body makeup. He looks like a linebacker. That's the way they're supposed to look. And not only does he play the game that way, he runs that way. And so he's just a tremendous talent. Look at him explode just there, right down the B gap, takes out the running back, the quarterback, everything. I just think he's going to bring a whole new temperament to our defensive football team. He knows Coach Thornton. He knows exactly what Coach Thornton's looking for. So that's going to be really, really good for us and for him because he's going to have a chance to contribute early to our football team.
I ain't gonna lie, fellas. I know it's just the highlights, but I'm not gonna lie. I like how he has a sense of urgency when he sees a straight line to that quarterback. I love it. I love it.
Do you know the attributes on him?
Osiris Smith, I can look that up, my brother.
He looks like a pass rusher. I mean, is he going to be a linebacker that's going to play a traditional linebacking position in terms of playing from sideline to sideline, or is he going to be strictly a pass rusher? Because the footage is kind of confusing. I mean, every play they showed, he was blitzing. So,
Right, right. And what does his coverage skills look like?
He's six. I don't mean to interrupt you, brother Jay Good. He's 6'2", 215. But this one he was a freshman, so we don't know. We don't know if he had a growth spurt or he might be 6'3".
So that explains it. So that because the first thing that jumps off to me when I look at that is this guy's small. He's undersized, at least for a linebacker. 6'2", he's probably 6 foot. 215, probably so. I'm
hey,
thinking.
Jay Good. Hey, I'm kind of offended. I was an undersized defensive.
No,
hey,
no,
get off the.
Hey, they told me when I showed up to Southern, I said, "Man, I want to play defensive line or linebacker." And Coach Smith said, "You're too short." so I get it. But no, this guy here, he's fast as hell. That first step, to me, it just seems like he's more of a walk down safety or rover or something like that. He doesn't seem like a linebacker to me. I think this guy is now. Granted, he's fast. He is fast, but I mean, you've seen those linemen. It's no way he's going to to deal with that. So I mean, he's going to have to completely rely on speed. I don't know. I mean, unless to play linebacker, I would be surprised if he comes in and starts at linebacker. Either move this guy to somewhere else, or you're gonna have to get him bigger. So
can I be real? We got linebackers in the NFL right now that's considered versus the linebackers that was in like the Levon Kirklands and the linebackers in the 80s and 90s that was 6'4", you know what I mean, 6'3", 260 pounds. If y'all remember, people like linebackers like Ray Lewis, when he first started, went to Miami, so even in high school, they was trying to say he was too small or he was too slow. Mm-hmm. Even the linebackers now, Roquan Smith and even Patrick Queen, they're Patrick Queen, that him being he just 6 foot, 240 pounds. You know what I mean? So both of them are considered undersized, but they're balling.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's going to come down to can he come in and make plays? Can he come in and make plays, and can he get off blocks? Now if he's coming in like that, and you got 315, 320 coming his way, is he going to win to make the play? You know, and it looked like he was in the middle too. So
Yes,
when
sir.
you think about in the middle, again, based off of what we just seen this past season, the one that always jumps off the board to me is Aubrey Miller Jr. That guy is, to me, and even you saw it in the East in the game yesterday. He's the prototypical. This dude is the archetype of Ray Lewis, from the body to the build to the physicality to the technique, all of that. But then when I see this guy here, and again, he's young. You know, what is he? How many years did he do at South Alabama?
I'm just seeing his freshman. He was only a freshman. Uh, yeah, I'm just seeing his freshman information.
So he's coming over as a sophomore.
It looks like it.
Okay, and he may get bigger. You know, who knows? You know, he may get bigger, but that's just my concern. But again, you still got to put the pads on and play.
Exactly. But I hear you. I mean, nowadays these offensive linemen and uh yeah, these offensive linemen are getting bigger, stronger, faster. Um, so the linebackers have to be, have to go match that. But like I said, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, you know, um, linebackers of that, that body type,
Right.
they're surviving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're surviving. But
What you think, Coach?
what you think,
And
Coach?
and and it kind of and it kind of piggyback off what Jacob was saying. I mean, like for example, Taj Brown. Taj Brown was a linebacker at Donaldsonville High School, and he was like all worldly. And as a senior, he transferred to Southern, and essentially he was a nose guard, and he made second team on SWAC. So, is he gonna get bigger, and is he gonna be able to maintain that same speed that he has in terms of you seen him shooting the B gaps and blitzing all the time. So it's not just I know you say he a freshman, but is he gonna get bigger? Because essentially, Taj Brown went from being a linebacker in high school to being a nose guard as a senior that made second team all SWAC at Southern. So, his speed, and is he gonna get bigger? Those two things gonna factor into how much he's gonna play and how successful he's gonna be at Grambling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and Joseph Townsend in the comment, he has a good point. He said, "I love his speed," and he said he may not be every day. He probably meant every down, but I know what you meant, brother. Every down
Yes.
linebacker yet, but you can see
Yes.
you can use him in a certain package is now.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's my thing. I'm like, is this okay? Is he going to be in the middle, all three downs? Is that where you want him? Now, definitely, I mean, with that speed, I would imagine this guy can cover. But to fill that hole like that, now, granted, he's coming in with speed, but imagine him coming through the hole, and he's finna get ready to meet Jarvion Howard from
mm,
Alcorn,
mm.
from Alcorn. So that's the Rhino. Who you think is gonna win that? So and
Yeah.
that's my
Or that
concern.
running
So
back from North Carolina Central.
yeah,
A
yeah,
running back that type that will run through you if he has to, and will.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right. I feel you, but you know what I'm saying. Like these athletes out there making it work. There was this linebacker my Baltimore Ravens had named Patrick. Uh, um, I'm the Usawar or something like that. Anyway, he played strong safety at Portland State. We still got him in the camp. We signed him, put more muscle on him, and he was a good little linebacker for us. So, I mean, there's places for him, but like you and Joseph Townsend said, what type of linebacker are you looking for? Are you looking for an every down linebacker or a package linebacker? What are you looking for? Because if you go against uh, a offensive line that's very old school, very physical, and has a bruiser like running back like Jamal Lewis or Priest Holmes or um, a Deuce McAllister that's very physical, them small linebackers are not gonna be in your favor because they're gonna get washed out to play. So I hear you, Jay Good. I hear you. I definitely hear you. But let's go. Let's look at this. Let's do O line.
All right, Coach. Here we got Jackson King. We talked about the offensive line getting bigger, faster, stronger. I believe he did just that, Coach. He just picked.
No, Chris, I think you did a great job of leading the staff to understanding what our profile was, first and foremost, because we wanted to get bigger, longer, because we needed to. This conference, man, you got to have some guys that can block some of these big guys that we play against. And we set out to do that. You did a great job of doing that. Jackson King obviously plays both tackle positions, 6'8". 6'8", long arms length, toughness. I think this guy's gonna really add to our football team.
Dominate the trenches. All right, Coach. Here we got.
Fellas, starting with Coach. He's transferred from American River College. And he's 6'8". I don't know his weight. Jackson King. Let me see. Let me get Google exactly how much.
I mean, he seems like a big kid. He seems like he moves his feet well. Uh, I mean, the thing, Grambling has been synonymous over the years for having huge offensive linemen, that really can grind on a defensive line.
I know where
One
you about to go,
criticism
Coach.
that I heard, I think it's a criticism of both Southern and Grambling. They're really not getting enough in-state guys, especially from Grambling. Grambling has been known for getting offensive linemen for North Louisiana that's just huge and just nasty. And, you know, I think a lot of schools in the SWAC, Southern in particular, they're going a lot with the transfers. Grambling has a lot of transfers, Southern has a lot of transfers. And I think, the scuttlebutt, around the SWAC is, especially, from, it's Southern and Grambling, why they're not getting, these homegrown guys, especially because, Grambling been known for offensive line play, not Louisiana in general. And, like I said, Grambling, he's been known for having huge, big, physical, nasty linemen. And I think, a lot of people would like, to see Coach Jackson get back to recruiting linemen, from his area more than just getting all these transfers.
I agree. I agree. And Jay Good, your feedback.
I mean, outside of the obvious, a big body, long, rangy. Um, I mean, just in those few clips, it's kind of hard to get a feel for him, um, because of the caliber of talent that he's going against. So, to me, now
I
this is
agree.
the thing. This is the thing. When I look at who he's going against, the guys look small, but at the same time, this is a guy that's 6'8". So
315 pounds.
right. So is he going against small competition, lesser competition, or is he just that much bigger and those guys just look small? So um, I don't know. I can't get a full a good estimate off of him. I mean, I would imagine, you bring a guy in like this, I would imagine that this is somebody that you're going to try to plug in to start and go immediately. Um, I want to see him. I want to see what he. I would like to see more. I would like to see more against, you know, what I would think would be bigger ends, um, and a little bit swifter edges. But it's. I mean, for the league that he was playing in, you're not seeing it in these clips. So it's kind of for me, it's kind of unknown right now.
Joseph Townsend got a good point. What I was about to say after you finished talking, Jay Good.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, what was his footwork work is like versus, like you said, the
Hmm.
more shiftier edges and the um defensive linemen that got moves for you, and are they able to get low? Because we had
Great
when
point.
I went to high school, um, at the at North Mesquite for a little bit. There was this. I remember this offensive lineman. We played defense and offensive lineman. He was like 6'7", and my brother Josh, he played a little bit of linebacker, but he was only 5'11". But when he did a blitz on the outside. My brother went right past him because he couldn't get low. So is this? Yeah, he's 6'8", but is he able to get low against the um Southern Jaguars Lewis, who can get low and turn that corner? A Lewis type guy who relies on his speed more than just bull rushing techniques.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and that's the thing. Especially, especially in uh, when you see these clips like in these videos that they created for content. I try to go in and look at the huddle, and then you're gonna still see some of the same things in the huddle, but also you can try to go online like the YouTube and try to, if a lot of these guys will have some type of footage on YouTube where you can see a little bit more of the truth. You're not gonna be able to see it all, but that gives you somewhat of an idea. But yeah, I mean that is a very good that's a very good assessment. It's something that's left to be seen. How is he going to respond to that? So um, based off of his footwork, do you think that he's adequate enough to deal with a swift edge? Does
Mm.
does someone like okay, does someone like Trey Lang who was smaller than him but is quick off the first step, does he just immediately fly by him?
Or
Because
Dumas, who's
or
really
do
5'11", but he got
like
width that
Dumas
moved
might
you.
be 5'10",
Yeah,
so yeah, so I mean these are that's something to think about, so
yeah. Dumas, his claim to fame, he's a gap shooter. He used that his big wide, and he's shorter man, so he got the leverage, and he's strong. So get in the gap, he just sitting there waiting for that running back, and he'll give that taller guy hell. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Yep, you can dip and rip big dudes all day, and Jay Barr is right about us that Cyrus Smith, um, the linebacker we were talking about. Yeah, he should be a good package linebacker. But we're probably gonna look at one more. We can look at all day because they have a lot of recruits. But we want to move over to Southern. Give coach and Jay Good some burn on Southern. Well, our last scrambling recruit we're gonna look at is this defensive back, um, Quentin Talley.
While we're in this defensive backfield, we have to transition to Quentin Talley, another South Carolina guy coming in here and ready to make a huge impact. Looking at about 6'2", 190 defensive back, originally from Duncan, South Carolina.
You just said it, Chris. I mean, another one of these impact corners. This guy's a lockdown corner. I think he is tremendous. He has unbelievable hips. He can turn and run with the best of them. This guy is going to give us the ability to play man coverage and lock down these receivers on the outside. Let Coach Thornton create whatever he needs to create with the other guys, right? So Quentin Talley is so important to our program because going to give us the ability to take away one side of the field. So again, I'm looking forward to this guy because this guy, he plays the game. The thing I love about the corners that we have, that we've added to this team, they have no problem tackling. They will tackle. They are not afraid to put their face in there and go make plays. Normally, you get them pretty boys. All they want to do is go out there and lock down these receivers. No, these guys are going to fight you and tackle you. So I'm looking forward to this.
I'm not gonna lie. If he played in the south in the area where I think he played in, he may be a problem.
He looks like a problem.
Because anybody that know anything about South Carolina, their claim is they defensive line and their wide receivers. They breed wide receivers down there, them tall, lanky, you know, physical wide receivers that South Carolina Gamecocks been feeding off of for years. And exactly what I thought. Guess what high school he played at, fellas?
Or about.
Which one, bro?
Burns High School. So you know anything about Burns High School in South Carolina? If either they're not ranked in the nation, they're always in the playoffs or competing for a state championship in South Carolina.
Okay.
So
Where is he coming over from? Is he coming straight out of high school?
no, he's coming from a JUCO, Holmes Community College.
Okay. In Mississippi?
Yeah, in Mississippi, Holmes is known for getting pretty good talent, you know.
Yeah.
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 That whole little Mississippi circuit of JUCOs is it's right there with Texas. But I mean, from what I saw, man, he looks like a player. Physical, not scared to hit, rangy, closing speed. Because I'm like, because the video I'm just watching, I'm like, is this high school? So yeah, I think he has the ability to come in and contribute, if not start immediately, just based off of that. Now I don't know what his deficiencies are. Of course, we don't know that. But from what I saw there, I mean, he looked good. He's not timid at all. I mean, as coach called him a pretty boy, I didn't get that. Um, Game kind of reminded me of a little bit of Bobby Taylor, old school Bobby Taylor. That's what his game kind of reminded me of. Um,
That's
but
high praise.
that's what he. I mean, I'm kind of halfway jealous. Yeah, he looked nice. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with him.
Coach, your feedback.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, he looks like a solid corner. Uh, I mean, he looks pretty impressive in terms of his footage. You know, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, when he gets up against some of these SWAC corners, you know, I mean, SWAC receivers, you know, in particular, somebody like August Petrie the third. You know, is he going to be able to lock somebody like that down? If he can do that, I would be impressed.
And I'm surprised. I'm usually South Carolina State will get their paws on talent like this. But kudos to Coach Jackson. He was able to sniff him out.
There was another kid that was that was that they were recruiting pretty hard. You know, he came to Grambling, and then they flew out there to see him. The Jalen Hicks kid. You familiar with him? From that North Carolina A&T. I think North Carolina A&T Middle. I forgot the name of the school, but is like his dad is Maurice Hicks, who's a
Yeah,
running back.
yeah, he
Maurice
was
Hicks' son.
a kick returner, punt returner in the
Hmm.
NFL. Yeah.
Hmm. Grambling was recruiting him pretty heavy, and for a while there, because he really didn't. From what I was seeing online, it seemed like he wasn't initially getting any offers, and then Grambling was like the first person that was like really just whining and dining him. The first people to just whine and dine him, and I thought that that's where he was going to go, and then he started getting other offers. But still, to this day, he has not. I don't think he's committed anywhere. Um, I know that they really want him. Like I said, Hugh went out there, and a couple other guys went out there to see him. So it's
Oh
interesting.
heck, he went to Dudley High School, which
That's
is
what Jalen. Who?
Jalen Hicks.
That's where he went to.
Yeah,
Not
Dudley is a powerhouse of three. I want to say 3A, 4A powerhouse.
where they have him listed as an athlete, and that's the thing. So, and that's what kind of jumped off the board on me because this dude's like 6'4". He's like 6'4", 215, and they had him as an athlete, but they said he was a running back and he was a wide receiver. And I'm like, wow. And I'm like, so if he comes to if he comes to Grambling, is this one of those Debo Samuel type of situations, or is he going to be a wide receiver? So I had I had my antennas on that, trying to keep a close eye on that to see what happened on that. But he hasn't signed as of yet, and I guess he's still mulling some things over because he's gotten some other offers here also. But I don't know what happened with that. For a while it seemed like he was going to sign with them, and I was kind of like, how come A&T? Why is A&T not blowing his door now? So, you know, that's what I was thinking on that.
Well, it all like we just said, all relies on the young man where he wants to go. So he probably has some offers. He's probably um thinking over or entertaining. So because he got a good football pedigree, like you said, Morris Hicks, and where the program he comes from. Anybody know anything about the North Carolina high school ball? Dudley is up there. That basically is one of the teams that if you in their conference and you're in the playoffs, you're gonna have a long night, depending on if you're as talented as them. So yeah, that's gonna be exciting. But moving on, and Jay Good said physical corner with good feet. Yes, he does. Yeah, them. Yeah, yeah. And you have to in the state of South Carolina with them monsters. They be having that wide receiver. They breed wide receivers down there, big ones too. Um, so we're gonna move on to the Southern Jaguars, which are last recruitment review of the show. So they did. So Southern does not. I've been trying to look. Southern does not have, like, of course, what Grambling State has on their Twitter, but they did update their website of the 2023 signing class. So I'm gonna share my screen. And here's what I'm gonna do, because you got, especially Coach, he's a Southern fanatic. I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm just gonna let y'all Southern heads take over and have at it. So, as you can see on the offensive side of the ball, it's Jaden Howard, wide receiver from Missouri, Texas. Oh, do you know who that is, y'all?
Absolutely.
He's that speedster. He's that
Absolutely.
speedster
We
from
know who that
Fairview
is.
A&M.
Yeah.
That old boy from Louisville, the transfer from Louisville, was throwing too. So y'all got y'all one. Okay. And of course, we went over Dylan. We had a show about Dylan Malhotra. Cameron Foster, offensive lineman from Shreveport, Louisiana, from McNeese State. John Mitchell, offensive line from Durant, Mississippi. Copaha Lincoln College. George Qualls, wide receiver from Rutherfordsville, Missouri, UT Martin. Harold Rhodes, tight end from Battsfield, Mississippi, East Mississippi Community College. Coming from that powerhouse. Last Chance U. Joshua Trask Jr., offensive lineman at Jazz, Mississippi, Copa Lincoln Community College. And Matthew Carty, offensive lineman from Palmdale, California, Antelope Community College. And you got quarterback Zay Tizet, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Scotlandville High School. Jalen Woods, quarterback from College Park, Georgia, Woodward Academy, and Corey Russell, running back, Arcadia, Louisiana, Grunt from Grambling State. That's on the offensive side of the ball. What y'all think?
Where you want to start, Coach?
All right. First, in terms of the kids, my first year coaching where I'm at now, he was a he was an eighth grader then, and he didn't play for the rival school, uh, C-Cell. He didn't play for C-Cell. He played for his Breck team. And if you're from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Breck is basically it's Pop Warner football. And the ironic thing with his situation is he was a 4-star uh, in high school, and he was being recruited by teams like Ole Miss and Mississippi State. He ended up going to Scotlandville High School, and for those that's from Baton Rouge, Scotlandville High School is like literally right down the street from Southern. It's like literally right in between where I live at and where Southern University campus is. So he went to Southern. I mean, he went to Scotlandville. I guess according to recruits, he regressed as a quarterback. So now, depending on what recruiting service you use, he's listed as a 3-star by some, 2-star by others. I think from what I'm understanding, talking to a couple coaches, Ole Miss and Mississippi State is still interested in him, but I think at the end of his senior year, they kind of pulled that offer off the table. I mean, he had some offers. He ended up choosing Southern. And I think the one good thing about it, he's like really the only like one Baton Rouge kid that Southern ended up really getting, that was coveted. The one of the huge knocks on Southern is the fact that they got a lot of transfers. And I mean, you have like a lot of talent in Baton Rouge, whether we talking about Scotlandville, whether we talking about Madison Prep, or whether we talking about Catholic High. I mean, usually like the elite caliber players usually go to LSU, some other in-state school, in Southern, certain guys they usually get, in the past. However, it's like years past, Jackson State and Alcorn State and Prairie View and basically just other SWAC schools have been gobbling up like the top, guys, in Baton Rouge that LSU hasn't gotten. So, that's been one of the big knocks. Of course, uh, like my brother Jared was saying that we already talked about Dylan Marotta. Dylan Marotta, he went to Episcopal High School in Baton Rouge. He was a pretty good quarterback in high school. He ended up going to UAB. A lot of people kind of compare him a little bit to Eric Randall, which to me that's a little bit too lofty in terms of praise because Eric
It's
Randall
very
won
high
two
praise.
SWAC championships and 2 Black National Championships. So that's a little
Right.
bit too much. And he's also
Yeah.
been compared a little bit to Bubba McDaniel. Uh, and one other thing too, we pointed out. Me and one of my coaching friends were talking. We know Bashawn McCray entered the transfer portal, and Jay Good talked earlier about Noah Barton. And of course we saw Harold Blood in the SWAC championship game. Harold Blood reminds me a lot of John Lampley in terms of when John Lampley first got to Southern. He was a pure pocket passer, but he wasn't athletic enough to get out the way when teams just all out blitzed him. And the scouting report on Southern quarterbacks at the time was basically Ladarius Skip was a glorified running back playing quarterback. So just load up the box for him. And when John Lampley come in the game, just all out blitzing. And Jackson State had an all out blitzing aggressive style defense. So when Harold Blood came in the game, he just couldn't get out the way. So those were the two quarterbacks that Southern had on the depth chart. So they got Maroda and uh Zay, and they got the other quarterback, Jalen Woods. So I mean, I heard earlier that Hugh Jackson, he was saying basically he just won't keep bringing competition into the quarterback room, and I guess Coach Dooley, he kind of had the same mindset because with five quarterbacks, somebody's gonna get the short end of the stick in terms of that particular scenario, and just looking at some of the other players they got, the running back Corey Russell, he fits that Southern prototype of running back. Whether we talking about Lindsey Scott Sr. or Melvin Williams Jr., Cedric Holmes or Ryan Lewis, uh, just Southern running backs over the years. And even if you look at current Southern running backs, whether we talking about Carl Ligon or Kendrick Grimes, he kind of has that same body style. And Gerard Sims is like really the only power back they have. So I wonder how many speedy third down type backs Coach Dooley needs and is he gonna play. So to me, it seemed like he would want to have more of a power back, but I guess he's just kind of sticking with his prototype. The lineman seems solid. All the other skill players, and you pointed out the kid Jalen Howard. I mean, that's a big kid. I guess you could put him on the other side of August Petrie the third. That's gonna be a real. If he could live up to what he's done in the past, that's gonna be a real big get. Looking at the defensive side, I was hoping they got more defensive linemen because, it's gonna be hard to replace. Uh, it's gonna be hard to replace Jason Dumas and Jordan Lewis and Taj Brown. I mean, the three best defensive linemen is gone. So, it seemed to me, unless they can have somebody, that's already on campus that I'm unaware of. Losing your top three defensive linemen to me seemed like he would have recruited more defensive linemen. And of course, the top DB is gone also. All of those guys I'm talking about. And of course the offensive line play. They had two Mr. Black, they had a couple offensive linemen that made all SWAC. So, the biggest voice that Southern has, of course, for the individuals that went to my channel, I have a video talking about the holes that Southern needs to fill. And for the most part, it seemed like on the offensive side, they did a good job filling those holes. But the defensive line play, that's really where I think Southern needs to, fill those voids in terms of replacing Taj Brown, Jason Dumas, and Jordan Lewis. Those are three big voids. And then in terms of DB trying to, replace Corey Houston, those are, four huge vacancies they're going to need to fill. In terms of the offensive line, I think they're going to be straight. I think, Dylan Maroda, just looking at his footage, I think he might be I'm not saying he's going to beat out Noah Biden or Harold Blood or Zay or any of the other recruits they have. But to me, it seems like Dylan Maroda is the front runner in terms of who's going to be the starting quarterback for next year. So I think they have a solid recruiting class. But like I said, the scuttlebutt in Baton Rouge, the big knock on Coach Dooley is why did he recruit so many transfers, and why has he recruited Baton Rouge more? Because I don't know if individuals really remember when Pete Richardson was in his heyday. Don't get me wrong, he really lived off transfers from LSU, whether we talking about Jermaine Sharp or Nemo Bates or Mike Hayes. But really outside of that, he recruited that I-10 corridor from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. I remember when I was going to Southern, they had so many guys that played for Southern team that was from Baton Rouge or from New Orleans, from the river parishes, whether we talking about St. James or Donaldsonville or East St. John, West St. John. It seems like he didn't recruit Louisiana as much as Coach Richardson did at one point. It seemed like I guess he's trying to expand his recruiting horizons, and he's trying to recruit nationally a little bit. So that's kind of been a knock on him. Why he didn't get more homegrown talent. Why is he getting more guys that he could groom and develop? Why is he getting so many transfers? But that, I mean, I think he really had an excellent and solid recruiting class. But like you and I talk about, bro, is the main thing is how these guys perform on the field. So that's gonna be the big thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. While y'all talking, I'm trying to find uh like videos of some of
So
these brothers.
yeah, so a lot of these guys, I was looking at their huddle links. Now some of them are taking their huddle links down, and then of course there's footage of them on YouTube also. Um, I thought that overall it was a pretty solid class, as in filling the needs of what they needed for the most part. I'm with Coach. I still, you know, skill position wise, it looks good. But I mean, of course, it always starts up front on both sides of the ball. So, offensive line and defensive line, um, I need to see what it looks like live. You know, at Mumford. In the spring or in the fall, I need to see what that looks like. Now, based off of what I've seen individually from looking at their film, um, just with the offensive line, uh, obviously they're going big. They're going big, and from a lot of what I've been seeing is a lot of these guys, at least for the talent that they were playing against in the game that they were playing against, they're physical. Now, how that translates to conference play, I don't know. But I think that that's a start. Um, I know that they had two guys that came over from Jackson State, I believe a D lineman and also an O lineman. Why they didn't play, I don't know. You know, but they were brought in by Dion. So obviously he saw something there. Just starting off at the top, uh, Jalen Howard. I mean, that's a huge pickup, man. And that's also at the
It
same time
is.
that's a huge loss for Prairie View.
It is.
And
Because I mean, this is a
and Jay
guy
Good,
that. Hmm?
Jay Good, I mean to interrupt. I want to ask you a question. You think that guy? I know he did a great job in SWAC play. Do you think he's going to be able to replace Cassius Allen and wide receiver for Southern?
Cat, from my understanding, the whole receiving core is coming back. From my understanding, and Cassius Allen was only he has like 2 years of eligibility coming back, so he's coming
I
back.
mean,
Um,
from my understanding, he was a senior, but I don't know. I think it might have been a typo, in the program.
and that's the thing. So even on the signees or the schedule, if you look on the schedule, it has August Petrie third on the schedule. He's one of the guys that's mentioned on there, but he
Yeah,
he
no,
was
no.
also a.
August Petrie the third was a sophomore, but they say Cassius Allen was a senior. From what I understood last year.
I don't know. That may have been a typo because a lot of people are saying that for the most part the receivers are coming back. All the same receiver. And I want to say one of them transferred out. One of them hit the transfer portal. Um, but if that is the case, if you do have Petrie and Cassius Allen coming back, and then you have someone like a Jalen Howard in the middle of the slot, that changes your offense tremendously. Um, even from what I saw with George Qualls. George Qualls, he was at Akron, and then he also played at UT Martin. And I was watching the game. Now he didn't have a lot of production at UT Martin, but I watched footage of him when he played against Tennessee, and his game is similar to Cassius Allen, and it's similar to Petrie. He's a big receiver. You throw it up, he's gonna go get it. So I think that those are two huge pickups to complement what you already have, which is going to bring even more competition. Now, what that looks like last year, if you implement those guys and you got Bashawn McCray throwing the ball, I don't know if you're going to be able to see what you actually envision. But on paper, whether it's Noah Bowden or whether it's Dylan Maratra, both of these guys, you see that they have the tangibles that they can make the throws. It kind of you can see where he's going. I was listening to Dooley yesterday, and he was talking on the Jaguar Journal, and he was, of course, I guess I'm not gonna say he's learned his lesson, but he said that they asked him, what can you expect, from the offense going forward. He said, we're gonna throw that thing. And I think that he feels real confident based off of what he knows with Noah Bowden and also what he knows with Dylan Maratra. Now, like I mentioned with Noah Bowden, he said the thing with Bowden was Bowden got in late. So Bowden got in late versus Blood and McCray, who was there in the spring, who was able to get reps, who was able to get acclimated in the system. So the transition, of trying to learn everything there, he was kind of behind a little bit. But he also has a whole another year in Dooley's system. Maratra, and I knew this before he even said it because I saw in the interview as soon as I heard that Dylan Maratra signed or was interested in going to commit to Southern. I tried to find as much information that I could find on him, and I saw this interview of Dylan that he did online, and he was at UAB. He was like third stream or whatever, and I think at the time he was an incoming freshman when he did the interview, and he was talking about, the guy asked him what other offers did he get out there before choosing UAB, and he said I got an offer. He started naming all these schools, and he's like, I got an offer from this one little school in Texas called Prairie View. So when he said that, I'm like, aha. So who was that? If he just came to UAB, who was previously at Prairie View?
Yep,
Eric
Coach
Dooley.
Dooley. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So he was already on Dooley's radar. Dooley wanted him to come to Prairie View to run that offense that he was at. But of course, he picked UAB, you know. Um, so when he hit the transfer portal, and then he started posting, his footage on YouTube and on Twitter, Dooley's right there. He already has a relationship established. He's already on the phone. He already knows his family. He's already talked to him. Next thing you know, Dylan Marach was here. Now, from watching his footage in practice at UAB, and even with being with the quarterback coach, he can throw. He can throw. I mean, you just see the confidence in his throws. You see the confidence, you see the footwork. It's just like, like he's been doing this the whole time. It's not a guy that played wide receiver or played running back. He's able to run it, but that's not his thing. But he can run it if you need him to run it. I mean, obviously, at Prairie View, they ran the same thing. They always keep the athletic quarterbacks. That's what Dooley wanted. So I think that between Noah Biden and Dylan Maratra, you're going to have a good competition there. Harold Blood. Now also to keep in mind when you talk about these ratings, Bowden and Maratra both were rated 3 stars, and actually on some of the reports, when you look at the point percentage, Bowden's percentage was a little bit higher, but you can't always go by that. You still got to get in, you still got to play, you still got to have confidence, you still got to learn and know the system. So that's one thing to look at. And then you had Blood, who was like a 2 star. Um, this quarterback room is going to have 6 quarterbacks. So you have 2 passers, or if you want to call them dual threats, but I say that they're 2 passers in Biden and Maratra. And then you have, or even if you want to say Blood as a passer before being a dual quarterback, then you have the 2 incoming freshmen, and then you have Chris Tucker from Madison, from Dallas, who was a freshman this past year. Now, what he's able to do, I don't know. I know he went through the spring last year, so he has a little bit of experience. So obviously somebody's going to be out. But when you talk about recruiting home and recruiting locally, they mentioned that to Dooley, and Dooley said that the thing going into this class, what stood out, he said that the transfer portal now has changed the game so much in college football that it's like you can't continue to do things that you used to do when it comes to recruiting and building your team. He's like, you have to now, because of the transfer portal, and seeing what your competitors do, you have to look at their portal first because these guys are experienced. They have college snaps and able to come in and play versus, you know, a senior that's coming into a program, not familiar, doesn't know about the speed of the game, still trying to learn. So he said that what they were trying to do is they were trying to come in and find guys that could come in and immediately contribute. And when they started recruiting the guys from high school, that's what they wanted to build the depth with and then eventually groom. Now, the thing is, when you look at the years of experience, a lot of these guys are real close. So I think Maratra has like 3 years left. I think the same goes with Bowden. And then when you look at Chris Tucker, who did not play, so he was what, redshirted. So he has 4 or 5 years, and then you got the two incoming freshmen. So it's like eventually whoever wants to play, whoever wants it the most, that's who's going to survive. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. He's excited. It seems like he really wants to open up the offense, and he has the tools. When you look at the wide receivers, and then when you look at the backs. But again, it's like what you mentioned earlier. What does it look like up front? Who's going to replace Dallas Black? So it's like you see what these guys are capable of doing, but how does that translate and transition to SWAC play? So that's what it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, and to kind of put a bow on what you were saying in terms of like the quarterback room, I think that was the reason why the kid Zay was so coveted, because he's really like the only local guy that they have, and he's from right there in the backyard in Scotlandville. And like you were saying with the line play, that's one thing Southern has really been synonymous for, is having that, just even though their line play has kind of been different than Grambling over the years, but Southern's been known for being aggressive and nasty up front. That's why the one year they played against Georgia, why they was able to kind of stand toe to toe with Georgia for a while, because they was able to run the ball and just be physical up front. And I mean, even going up against the SEC team, that offensive line in Southern is really kind of what allowed them to do what they was doing. So like you said earlier, Jay, that up front on both sides of the ball, it's going to be imperative for Southern to get back to being what they used to be.
Yes, good conversation, fellas. And what I want to do is to kind of go with y'all conversation. Yeah, Joseph Townsend did say, didn't some guys get an extra year because of COVID? Yes, they did.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay
Yeah.
Bar agreed. But just to go with y'all, good conversation regarding the Southern's recruiting class, I want to play a couple of videos so the viewers can see. I couldn't find all of them, but we're going to start with Jalen Howard from Transfer Prairie View A&M just to see what's coming to the program. I'm not going to play the music.
A little Dion Shuffle and Jackson.
Yep.
He definitely a burner.
Yes.
Yeah, he can stretch the field. Slot receiver. To put this guy in between uh, Petrie and Allen if he comes back, or even if it's Qualls on the other side. I mean, it's like who do you focus on? It makes a lot of plays. I was surprised that why he hit the transfer portal. I don't know. It's a huge loss though for them because he was a big or a major contributor.
Maybe he doesn't have faith in
Program.
Trajan Conley, or it could be the program. But like I said, Trajan Conley come from that Duncanville program, so give it that young man some time, and I think he'll be good because of the caliber of program he came from. Um, Coming from that spread offense that Duncanville likes to run. But that's my only thing I can think of. Because Trejon Conley did have a rocky start. So maybe he's thinking I need somebody to give me the ball. And
Yeah.
it could not be that. It could be, like you said, it could be the he has something he disagrees with as far as the program. And that was Mr. Jalen Howard. And then I am going to show you, couldn't find any college, but I did find a rivals video for Jalen Woods, quarterback. And I'm going to share that just a second.
Yeah, Woods is coming straight out of high school
Okay, good.
Yeah,
or
in the crazy,
academy or whatever.
and the crazy thing we talked about the offense, we didn't even talk about how whoever's gonna be the quarterback, they're gonna be able to throw the ball to Carl Logan and Kendrick Grimes at the backfield. That's gonna be sick for Southern offense.
Well, not only that, I mean, you have Liggett and Rhymes. You also have Sims coming back, and you also have Kobe Dillon coming back, who did not play at all
Yeah,
last year because of the injury. And then when you throw in
yeah,
C.J. Russell, you have C.J. Russell who lit it up at Grambling, one of the Louisiana all-time
Six.
rushers
I
in
think he has
itself.
six all time.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like Dooley has a lot of toys here, um, and it's enough to get excited about. At the same time, what does their protection look like up front? Um, from like I said, from what I've seen, they are physical. Uh, it's just a matter of how does that all mesh together. So I like this kid here. He's he can play, man. He can play.
Yeah,
Where's he from? Decatur or College Park?
yeah. He is from
yeah.
College
He
Park,
kind of reminds
Georgia.
me. He reminds me a little bit of John Williams.
Yeah, yeah.
And I couldn't find a lot on CJ or AKA Corey, but
Oh, there's Bayou Classic Bayou Classic footage of him. Um, what was I gonna say?
yeah, but just with him, you know what I mean? Like just highlights of him just running.
Right.
But this is what you was talking about. It's the news, so I can play this.
There have been a number of solid performances this regular season, but none perhaps as impressive as Arcadia's C.J. Russell. As our Spencer Tillers tells us, the Hornets running back is putting up video game type numbers.
I believe on Black and Gold. I loved it. I'm gonna always love it.
The ones that become those great players, those are the ones that are blessed with talents and they work at it. He's one of those people.
Arcadia's C.J. Russell is having one of the greatest seasons in Louisiana high school football state history. In just 9 games this year, he's already rushed for over 2,500 yards and 31 touchdowns.
I expected him to have a big year, but you can't really envision these type of numbers. And 2,509 games, that's insane.
Blessed with an incredible natural athletic ability, CJ didn't even begin playing football until he was in 8th grade. And Coach Carr knew for him to reach his real potential, he was going to have to push him hard once he got to high school.
He tried to make me quit. I wanted to quit, but he just stuck with me. I stuck with him also. He's like a father figure.
After splitting time in the backfield as a freshman, CJ earned the starting job by his sophomore year. That season, he rushed for over 2,000 yards and then did that again as a junior. As the yards continued to pile up, so too did the records. And that's when Coach Carr decided to let his running back in on a little secret.
But I see that I don't want to tell you, but you like almost in the top five in the all-time rushing yard. And I was like almost cried. It's amazing. It's just a blessing. I just wake up every morning thanking God.
With 7,560 career yards, CJ now ranks seventh all time in Louisiana State history and needs just 35 yards on Friday night to pass the age limit.
I'm so happy and proud. I'm I'm excited. I'm really excited.
To see this guy work and to see the things that he's capable of doing is a total blessing. And to be able to go down and make history, I'm very proud.
In Arcadia, Spencer Tillis, KTVE, NBC 10 Sports.
Yeah, and that's Corey Russell.
Yeah, like Jay Good said, I think the big key component to everything is, the offensive line play. But it's also going to be interesting to see if Gerard Sims is able to fight off all other backs and remain a starting running back. But I mean, they play running back by committee anyway. But it's going to be interesting to see if he still a starter, because he seems like he's the only power back of the group.
Right. Right. Yeah, he definitely has that type of form and build for that. And even when he went down, after he went down in that what was it, the Jackson State game, after he went down in that
Yeah, the
game, it
bulldog
was
special.
almost
Yeah,
yeah, after he went down in that game, it was almost like the complexity of the running game changed. They didn't have any type of powerful presence. To me, Rhymes and Ligon, they're pretty much the same type of athlete, explosive, but it's a guy that you want to move around, try to you know uh, go out outside the tackles and screens and things like that. Meanwhile, you have somebody like Sims that's able to go north and south. I think C.J. Russell is able to go north and south. Kobe Dillon definitely can go north and south. It's just a matter of how he's going to. I mean, dude. I mean, what is this? Four running backs. How that how
five.
he's gonna make that five? How he's gonna make that work? I don't know. It's a good problem to have,
Yeah,
but
very.
it's. I mean, you see it year in and year out with Grambling. So now it's like Southern has that same type of I'm not gonna say concern, but same type of thing to work around. So
Yep,
Yeah,
and
receiving problems. I mean, as a coach, I wouldn't mind having those kind of problems.
I hear you, coach. But I'm about to play. You said that he came from George Qualls, wide receiver. That's coming to you guys. He went. This is when he was at Akron at the time. Oh, excuse me. This is the recruiting video for Akron, and so this is high school footage.
that jump ball, see, that's the same Petrie and Allen jump ball. It's almost like he's the same type of archetype as those guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big body on the outside.
Yeah. No, it
Yeah,
was
I didn't
crazy.
see this one.
Once it was crazy how once Dooley benched McCray uh and he put Bubba McDaniel in the game. How the complexion of that SWAC championship game changed. So having the right guy at quarterback is definitely gonna make the difference. As long as the offensive line, is up to par.
Yeah, I think that kind of changes the perplexity of the team. Because I mean, a lot of people right now, if you was to say a favorite coming out the West, people want to say Alcorn. Because of uh, making a quarterback and Howard. But again, you can't look at Southern now as the same way as it was with McCray back there because McCray is not back there. So it's going to be a different look. Again, it just comes down to are they able to block? Not saying that they can't. It's just that that's the unknown. So
Yeah, huge
because of the new
question mark at this
faces,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fellas, just moving on to your defensive side of the ball as far as recruiting. Uh, and I'm just gonna read them off. So y'all have Jelani Davis, D line, St. Louis, Missouri, Jackson State. That was the ones you were talking about. Darius Jackson, D line, Memphis, Tennessee, Arkansas State. Joshua Alexander, defensive back, Arlington, Tennessee, Kahoma Community College. Leroy Bowers, defensive back, Cincinnati, Ohio, Cincinnati transfer. Darius Harry, defensive end, New Orleans, Louisiana, Southeastern University transfer. Willie Matthews, linebacker, Montclair, New Jersey, Lackawanna College. Joshua Tate, Decatur, Georgia, Iowa Central Community College. And then Mike Jones, linebacker from Houston, Texas, Kilgore Community College.
There's another guy that for some reason he's not on there. I think his name is Kylan Smith.
Kylan Smith.
Yeah, Kylan Smith. Um, he committed also, and now he's not on there because there's just I don't know if it was a late commit or what, but why his name is not on the actual, um, you know, the rollout with all the other signees. But he's another one. I want to say he's like 6'2", 230. He's a defensive end slash linebacker. I believe he's coming straight out of high school. Mike Jones, of course, is coming from Kilgore Community College. Uh, what I noticed a lot, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, outside of well, pretty much a lot of these guys, man, you can tell that they looking for just outright physical guys. From the standpoint of point of contact. Now, that's not necessarily saying that the technique is going to always be there, but uh, there's some nastiness from what I was seeing on a lot of the films that these guys had, and of course, it's highlights, so you can't get too lost in that. The one that stood out to me the most, Willie Matthews. Now, again, when you look at that size, 6 foot 215, it kind of looks like the other guy that we looked at earlier, that was like 6'1", 215 that I was questioning. Willie Matthews, when you go back and look at his huddle, he's a straight up thumper.
Mhm.
His game reminds me of that. Just sacrifice your body, Ray Lewis type, Aubrey Miller type. Just he's a straight up thumper. You can see him playing linebacker. He has a mentality and the mold to play linebacker. Um, but again, because of that size thing, is that one of those things where you might try to convert him to a safety? I don't know. You know, Joshua Tate. Joshua Tate was. I think he was previously at Southern, got injured, ended up leaving, and then went the community college route, and then came back. He's another physical one also. You remember him, Coach? You remember Joshua Tate?
Yeah, I remember some ramblings about him, but I never saw anything like concrete on him. But there was some talk about him.
Yeah, it looked like he got hurt. I don't know if I guess it may have been his freshman year. He had like a knee injury and ended up having surgery and didn't finish out. And then I guess from that point, I don't know if he got frustrated and what, and just ended up leaving the program. But he came back. Um, Coach, if you can go back to that screen. I mean, Jared, if you can go back to that screen with the
Yeah,
list.
yeah, got you, man. Stop screen. Shit.
So when I went in and I looked at Jelani Davis and also Darius Jackson. Um,
Hmm.
these are like wide bodies. So these are like guys that are able to penetrate, but most importantly, they're able to keep linemen off of your linebackers, so your linebackers can roam. So, you know, are they able to replace a Dumas? I don't know. But the size is definitely there, and for what they do is definitely there. Physicality is there. It's just a matter of how they come in. Arkansas State. He's able to come in and contribute. He has college snaps. Jelani Davis. I don't know. I mean, from what I've seen, from what I've seen. I don't know if he'll be able how dominant he'll be. That I don't know. You know, um, but I think that these guys can come in and contribute. Um, Darius Harry, I don't remember seeing anything on him film wise. Leroy Bowers, that's kind of foggy. Also, I watched Mike Jones. Mike Jones, he's rangy. He's sideline to sideline, physical. There's still some technique things that I would like to see. I would like to see better wrap it up. But he's more of a guy that just I want to explode you with impact type of guy from what I was seeing. But I think that he could be something. Um, Coach, do you know which linebackers that are not returning or that are returning?
Well, I mean, for the most part, that's why I was saying that the big thing is, in terms of you saying, wide bodies that really can occupy space. Essentially, that's what Taj Braun and Jason Dumas did last year. They demanded a lot of attention in the middle. I think that was the reason why Taj Brown ended up making second team all SWAC was because Jason Dumas got so much attention. Taj Brown, even though he really was like a nose, he made a lot of plays in the middle because Jason Dumas, was Taj Brown was more like a one technique. Jason Dumas was more like a three technique, but Jason
Hmm.
Dumas got all the attention. It didn't, and even with Jason Dumas and Jordan Lewis on the same side, it really didn't translate for Jordan Lewis because, you know, he was kind of on the underside side. I guess he was more accustomed to being that hybrid linebacker, defensive end, as opposed to just being a guy that had his hand in the dirt all the time. He really couldn't handle those bigger tackles, except for when he just was coming off the edge and just running around him. Being, having your hand in the dirt every play is different than being kind of like a hybrid 3-4 outside linebacker. But it's kind of interesting that you say that because it seems as if he pretty much got those guys to pretty much replace Taj Braun and Jason Dumas.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're doing on film. At least for the snaps that I saw for Jackson and Davis, they made plays, but it was more so bodies on them. Bodies were trying to contain them because if a lot of times if it was just man to man, they would penetrate. So that's exactly what I was thinking as in somebody that's going to be able to come in and fill those voids. So Taj. I know that Taj was a grad transfer. Did he have any type of eligibility? Because I haven't seen anything saying that he's not going to return. I haven't seen anything about him NFL and all that. So do we know if he has any more eligibility left?
No, I mean when he left Donaldsonville High School, he was highly coveted. A lot of Texas schools wanted him because I know him. I don't know him personally, but he went to school with one of my younger cousins, and I went to school with his uncles, and his dad, is like the same, like around the same age as my uncle. So I know his family, and I don't think he has any more eligibility left because my cousin, he's like what 24, and I think Taj was maybe like a year or two under him. So from my
Okay,
understanding, I don't think Taj has any more eligibility left
okay,
because
and
he should
that's
be 22, 23 now.
right, and that kind of goes back to what what Joe Townsend was saying about the COVID years because the COVID years of that being at play for an additional year, it's kind of like, okay, who I see you listed at this, but people are saying that. You know, we were talking about with Cassius
Cassius
Allen.
Allen.
Yeah, so it's like it's a lot of gray areas as in the eligibility for these guys. Um, and I guess we really won't have an idea until the spring comes about. So um, but yeah, I'm kind of interested in that. I know you still have Trey Lane. That's a bright spot. I wish Trey was a little bit heavier, but at the same time, I mean, for his game, for what he does, it works well. Um, but the other defensive end, I don't know who that's going to be. You know, I
Yeah,
don't know who that other
it-
defensive end is going
that's
to
gonna
be.
be a big, that's gonna be a big question mark. That D line is gonna be the thing that really kind of, you know, is a huge question mark for the. Just like we talked about, the offensive line for the offense is gonna be the defensive line for the defense. You know.
Have y'all seen any film on Darius Harry, the defensive end that's in this class?
I, I wasn't able to see. No, I wasn't able to see. I didn't see anything on him.
No, I haven't. I haven't. I've been seeing him. I've been seeing postings of him, but I haven't seen any type of footage on him. I mean, still, I mean, they got him listed as a defensive end. He's 6'2", 245. I mean, I mean, to me, when I look at that, that looks like a linebacker to me. You know, but again, the same thing applied to what was his name? Jordan. Same type
Jordan Lewis.
Jordan Lewis, same type of build. Now Jordan was a little bit taller, but I mean even Trey, you know, I don't know, maybe. I mean, it seems like he's probably a little bit heavier than Trey, but I don't know. I mean, he obviously has played on the next level, so maybe he may be able to come in and contribute. Um, and I don't know about the underclassmen. What's the what's the what's his name? Willie, the defensive tackle, the big dude, takes up a
Oh,
lot of space too.
Willie Matthews. They said Willie Matthews is a linebacker.
No. I'm talking about that's already a defensive
Oh,
lineman. Coach, you
Will.
know,
Hold on, I got the roster up here. Hold on, Willie.
he's short. He's very short, but he's wide and he's big.
What number is he? Is he do we have a single Willie Miles? He's 5'9", 350
Willie
pounds.
Miles. Willie Miles. He was another one that they were interchanging Dumas with. And he was able to, you know, it was a tad bit undisciplined at times, but he was, you know, for what for what they wanted him to do, he was able to do that. Now how he, you know, a year later, how he comes in and contributes, I don't know. Maybe he takes the place of Dumas. I don't know, you know, um but to me it's like Willie and the other two guys that they brought in, those are kind of like the same body molds and body types for what they're looking for and what they're trying to accomplish at linebacker.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I remember a few games him coming in to relieve Taj Brown, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it was like when Taj Brown was out of the game, it was extremely noticeable because teams were able to just run the ball a lot more freely against Southern. You know, so I'm not gonna lie, he really didn't move me. You know, I really
Can
want
I?
to see him as a starter.
It's funny that you said that. And I know you're talking about Southern, but just to speak on when people are not in the game, especially defensive tackle. Um, the young man that's coming to you guys, Jelani Davis, did he play in that North Carolina Central game?
I don't think he I don't
I
think
don't
he
think he
played. I don't
did.
think he played last year.
Exactly. So you guys, from my observation and watching him, and then it being very noticeable that he wasn't on that D line against North Carolina Central. Um, that's reassuring y'all defensive line because he was uh, more than an impact on that Jackson State defensive line when he played last year. In my
I think
in
the
my opinion,
I think I want to say the footage I saw of Jelani Davis was community college footage. I can't remember what I can't remember what school they brought him over from. Let me see if I
because he played a couple snaps when he was at Jackson, and
he came from Dodge City, which is up there
yeah,
in Kansas. They're right there
yeah,
with Independence.
yeah, he came from Missouri to Dodge City, and then he went to Jackson State. Or am I confusing him with Miller, number 99? Because I don't think he played.
Miller.
That big Jackson State defensive lineman they had in the middle. Because y'all remember when Coach Prime made that announcement, a lot of the players didn't play. Well, a lot of the significant players, I wouldn't say a lot, but a lot of the significant players didn't play.
That was the linebacker. What was his name? Quay, number 57.
Yeah, now it's Gotti.
Niles Gaddy. That's he didn't play, and then there was somebody else. I think Quay Davis didn't play. Yeah,
Jeremiah Williams, not Miller.
Jelani Davis, he has his huddle. What now I remember? So his huddle that I was looking at, uh, it's of him at Dodge City. I'm looking at it now. Big body, kind of swift to be that big. Wow, they had him at defensive end. Hmm. You can tell he's definitely used to being cut because he trained on that.
Never mind, that's the wrong guy. Oh boy played. Williams played Jeremiah Williams.
Dang.
What?
No, I'm looking at his if you Google Jelani Davis huddle and then
Doing it now.
play, you'll see it. You'll see it. So my question is, I mean, from seeing this and then again, why did you not play?
Hey, fellas,
So now I'm
break y'all.
okay.
Gotta go take care of some business. I'm gonna holler at y'all, fellas. Y'all this evening.
Okay then. All right, you too.
You too. You too, brother. Thank you.
Have a good one. Yeah. So from looking at his huddle, man. I mean, it's like obviously this is a guy that can play. Um, but you go to J State and you're not playing. So is it just? I mean, is it talent that's in front of you from a depth chart standpoint? Is it is it that much more supreme than you, or do we have some type of character issues? And I'm not trying to put that jacket on it, but from looking at his tape here, I mean, you got to wonder why this guy didn't get no snaps.
Good question. Very good question. If you remember him, when he did play at Jackson State, I wouldn't say he was terrible.
Hmm.
But you could tell that the talent that um he was pretty good. He was pretty good. Um, it's hard to say, man. It's really hard to say. And I'm showing the video now of his huddle. Dang.
I mean, look how big he is.
Hmm.
I mean, right there they got him at the end. But I mean, even his measurements, he doesn't. When you look at his measurements, he doesn't look that big because I think they have him at what I think on the thing that you showed him had him like at 6'1" or 295 or something like that. He looks bigger than that.
Yes. Yeah. Dang, he swim big 77.
Yeah, I mean the technique is there. Look at that. I mean the technique is
Mm.
there. I mean he's taking on double teams. Um, I don't know. Okay, this is back. This is Dodge City. Hell, it's like he knows the plays.
I'm not gonna lie. At this type of level football, it's not really the talent per se you question. It's the coaching because you could have like Last Chance U. If you watched it, you could tell a lot of the coaching was like, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a big body, man. He's a big body and he knows it. He knows how to use it, and has very good feet.
yeah.
So that is a good question, Jay Good. Why is he not on the field?
I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that, I'm pretty sure the recruiters did their due diligence and everything. But whereas I see your huddle and I see your footage at Dodge City, but you did a little bid at a little time at J State. Where's that footage at? How come you
Yeah,
don't have footage? You know. So yeah, good question.
yeah, man. It's exciting. Y'all definitely look promising. Um, as far as the talent that's coming in, Leroy Bowers. Do you know?
Leroy Bowers, is he from Cincinnati?
Hmm.
I want to say I watched his film. I mean, you may be able to pull it up. You may be able to pull up his, you may be able to pull up his huddle. Let me see if I can see if it comes up. I want to say I looked at him early on. Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think I found it. But is it his high school or is it Cincinnati?
I think that's high school.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so they have like a high school huddle and they have a college huddle. And then they like I said, a lot of these guys are now that they've committed, they're taking it down. So I don't know if they're being advised to take those huddle links down, so no one else will be in their ear. um, but yeah, I know I'm starting to notice that a lot of huddle links are starting to come down.
Yeah, and I found like some tape on. I don't think it's the same Joshua Tate though.
The
It's a
Joshua
Joshua.
Tape film I saw was I saw JUCO. I saw Iowa City or wherever he was at.
Yeah,
That was the tape that I saw on him.
look at that. I think I found it.
It had Leroy Bowers listed as a 3-star. He's from Cincinnati.
But in a nutshell, and I found that huddle for Joshua Tate. In a nutshell, are you
Mhm.
impressed? You being a Southern fan, you know on the program a little bit. Your time when you was at Southern for a little bit, are you
Mhm.
impressed with the picks as far as the recruiting class?
Um, I'm gonna say that based off of the previous classes that I've been seeing, when it comes to addressing needs and trying to fill out your roster, I'm pleased. Based off of what I've seen, just from what's available out there, with these guys. It just, like I said, it's a matter of who's going to get here in the spring, who's already here, and how they can get acclimated. I think that I see I, s- I see why the coaches are excited. And a lot of times you hear kind of like when you was watching Hugh Jackson, it almost was it almost was like he was saying the same thing over and over and over with each player. But I can see why these guys tend to um, why they are excited. Even Ricky Jackson, who's over recruiting at Southern, he was like, the work that they put in for the people that they wanted, that they are extremely proud. And I can tell that they are excited about it. I want to see what it looks like. I think we all want to see what it looks like, um, and how it's going to come together. I think that they have the chance. I mean, if it's able to come together on paper as you think it should be, I think that they're going to be better than what people are giving them. Because I mean, as what Duty said yesterday, he said that a lot of people come in and they want to see about trying to win the West or win the win the conference or whatever. He's like, that's not my goal. He's like, my goal is to win Atlanta. He's like, and that's what I'm trying to do, as in putting together this team, which I thought was a pretty bold statement. Uh, but at the same time, based off of what happened last year, and you got eyes looking at you, and you got some people asking questions. Um, I'm not gonna say it's do or die, but uh, you have to be making the right strides and putting together these pieces. Who is this? Can you hear me?
Oh, it was Joshua Tate. I was on mute. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, you good? This is Joshua Tate.
Hmm. And this is from his safety position. He jammed the heck out of that wide receiver. Yeah, that's when against Iowa Western.
Okay.
But in a nutshell, I mean, I think both my of course, like we've been saying on our show, it remains to be seen as far as the um how the pieces fit, but as far as what we see and looking at the film, I believe both Grambling and Southern did a great job recruiting as far as we can see. Of course, we have to wait till they produce on the field.
Hmm.
But out of both teams, Southern versus Grambling, which team you think recruited the best?
Um, I mean, I can't really say because I don't know I from a coaching standpoint. I know what Southern, I know what they need. I know what they wanted to. I know what they want uh, to fill the voids, but I can't just really truly say that with Gremlin because I don't know who's leaving and who's coming back. I mean, I know some cats that are gone, but at the same time, it's kind of hard for me to say that Southern had a better recruiting class um, versus Grambling. But at the same time, I don't know what Grambling is what they're losing or what's remaining. So
That's fair. And
yeah,
salute to I am Trill Will.
Trilly
I am
Willy.
ill Will. He says salute Jared O'Leary Green and that smooth pimp Jay Good.
What's going on?
Thank you for stopping by, man. But and that's fair. I will pick Graham only because it looks like they did. They know they were struggling at quarterback. If they
Hmm.
had even a accurate quarterback last year, um, they would have. It's fair to say they could have won more games than they lost, right? Um,
Right.
so
Same with
I
Southern.
same, yeah, same,
Same exact
yeah,
thing with
yeah.
Southern.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. You can say the same thing for Southern with the beast, but
Yeah.
my the reason why I'm not that was coaching because y'all had a competent
Hmm.
quarterback,
Hmm.
but y'all didn't start him.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And
But
that's the thing that you have to be keep an eye on. Like I said, from the standpoint of what he said that he wants to, what his goal and objective is for the Celebration Bowl and for Atlanta. Okay, you have the pieces, you have the chessboard, you have all the toys in the toy box. Are you going to put the right pieces out there? So
exactly,
that's what remains to be seen. But I mean, across the board, at least from the standpoint, and I'm not going to say standpoint of skill position, but for the people that they brought in, that you can see the competition that's going to be that's going to take place. I mean, even at tight end, um, I think his name is Harold Rhodes. That guy, he played tight end and he also played long snapper. And now he's at Colin. And if you watched what's the show on Netflix? Uh Last Chance U.
hmm
So MCC, they played Colin. So you can tell that they're not saying that they're influenced by the show, but just the pedigree of the players. But this guy here, Harold Rhodes, he's a tight end, but he's to me he's physical enough to be a lineman. He's physical enough to be uh, like a tackle, but I don't think he's heavy enough. But I say that from the standpoint of damn near like everybody he was putting his hands on, they was just melting. And that conference in Mississippi, that those are like these are like guys that either A, they don't have the grades, or B, they have issues, character issues. So the level of play is there for the
Right.
most part throughout that Mississippi JUCO conference. So
Yeah, they produce dogs down there in eastern Mississippi, definitely. But Jay Good, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much. Appreciate Coach. Coach had to drop off because he had a emergency he had to take care of. Hope everything's all right. I want to thank both of y'all brothers again for joining me another week for another installment for the Southern Baller Show. Jay Good, let the people know how they can reach you. What you up to?
absolutely, man. As always, it was a blast. Um, you can reach me if you're on Instagram. You can follow me at It's J Good. If you are on Twitter, you can check me out at Yajdoog. That's YAJDOOG. That's J Good spelled backwards. It's been a blast. Have fun. Shout out to the LDBC, Lions Den boxing community. I saw a few of those guys that came through here, showed some love.
Love all y'all
So
brothers, man.
yeah,
Thank y'all.
yeah. Appreciate y'all for sliding through. And until next time, we're gonna do it again.
Yes, sir. We're gonna pick two more teams in the SWAC um, to go over their recruiting class, as we did Grambling and Southern. But y'all have a blessed Sunday. Enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. Like Jay Good said, shout out to the mighty LDBC. There's only one. Y'all have a blessed Sunday.